My relationship with my mother is crumbling and I don't even know if I want to try to save it. First of all, I want to clarify that English is not my first language, so sorry in advance if there are any mistakes. I have always been, or at least was, very close to my mother. I always knew that if I needed help, she would be there for me, regardless of what it was. My dad, 52M, on the other hand, though we loved each other, and still do, wasn't as involved in my personal life as much, usually having to know how I was feeling through my mom. This, however, changed some months ago. Around January, my mom started to obsess with politics and Twitter, not US politics, as I don't live there, spending more and more time on the site arguing with strangers and being on the phone with some of the friends she made there. As time went on, she slowly started to isolate herself from her family and friends, closing herself in her room, barely speaking with my dad and I. The relationship between my parents hasn't been the best for the last 3 years, because of different reasons. They became distant and rarely talked. At times it seemed as if they were just roommates sharing a house and talking only when it was necessary. Between her and I, though, there have never been any problems, some occasional arguing, sure, but nothing serious, so it really hurt to see how she pushed me out of her life. This went on for some months, until recently, about a month ago, by accident, I heard how she told one of her friends things like, "I love you honey and I don't know what I would do without you." I exploded. I screamed at her, without insulting or being threatening. That said, I'm not proud of what I did and have already apologized for losing my temper, and started to cry. I felt betrayed, and felt horrible for my dad, though in the end he didn't take it too badly since he kind of expected it. She kept telling me how this guy gave her the attention that she lacked at home, and how it wasn't cheating because they didn't have sex. It would have been pretty difficult since the guy literally lives in another island. I won't say where I'm from, but know that most of the country is in Europe, but it owns a bunch of islands in the Atlantic. I told her that her excuses were stupid and to stop trying to justify her actions. And then my father came home. He found me almost having an anxiety attack, and after calming a bit told him everything. To sum up, they agreed to a friendly divorce and everything was as fine as it could be, or at least it was until a week ago, when because of a stupid thing, she wanted him to pay for the internet in the house, even if he didn't live there. My mother started to scream at my dad, telling him that she was fed up, that he always did the same and that he was manipulating me to hate her, when in fact, it was quite the opposite. She said some really awful things, threatened to falsely accuse him of domestic abuse, go to court to get my full custody, and even pushed me because I was supposedly about to hit her, even though I would never dare to even think to hurt her. After a lot of screaming I had a full-on anxiety attack. I started wailing while she just kept telling me, "Look what your father is doing to you. If he just paid, none of this would have even happened, and if you love him so much, leave with him." But in the end you will understand that I'm right. Needless to say, I was a mess. I had never seen her act in such a way, and it hurt me a lot. We called my grandma and she asked me to give her a hug before going to sleep, even if what she said was that bad. And so I did, not because I wanted to forgive her, but because my grandma would calm a bit, but to add insult to injury, before even apologizing, which she didn't do at that moment. One of the first things she said was that I should stop insulting the guy she found on Twitter because he respects me and my father a lot, to which I said whatever. But again, it hurt that, even after all the things that happened that day, the first thing she could think of was that I insulted her boyfriend, to whom I think owe no respect. Someone trying to date a married person, because he knew she was married, doesn't deserve to be treated with respect if you ask me. And here I am, a week after this incident and still a mess. She has apologized for most of what she said, and has started to be really affectionate, giving me hugs and trying to talk to me more often. But I just can't see her in the same way as before, and she isn't even trying to change her behavior that much. She still spends way too much time on Twitter, and I don't know what to do. I don't think I want to cut her off, but every time I see her I get in a bad mood and just want to go outside to take a walk or meet up with my friends so that I can relax and think about other stuff. So what should I do? My dad and the rest of my family are encouraging me to value her efforts to recover our old relationship, but I don't know if I will be able to, or at least if I even want to leave this behind. Update 6 years later : trigger warning, mention of suicide. So, high exclamation mark. I posted here nearly 6 years ago about how strained my relationship with my mother had become after she closed herself off from both me and my father because of her obsession with politics. Again, not gonna get into it. A lot of stuff has happened since then, so I figured I could make an update. I debated for a while if I should even make this update since, after all, it's been half a decade since I made the original post and it didn't even get that much attention. In the end though, I think it will give me a bit of closure, which has been difficult to find otherwise. Oh, and again, English is not my first language, yada yada, sorry for any mistakes. For starters, I ended up moving out permanently from my mother's house not long after I posted. We had a couple big arguments about her behavior in which she kept insisting that she had done nothing wrong and I should not be upset at her. I tried using some of the recommendations I got from people here, some of which were questionable, to say the least, such as setting some clear boundaries with her, but nothing really worked. The straw that broke the camel's back though was when she told me that my uncle's, her brother's, cancer had come back only as a way to hurt me, since she didn't mention it before to avoid causing me even more stress. She kept that information in her back pocket until I pissed her off enough to want to hurt me. So yeah, really nice of her. As I mentioned before, I moved out, and I ended up living with my dad and my grandma a couple towns over. By then I was getting close to turning 18, so there wasn't much she could do to stop me, and to her credit, she didn't. After that last incident I pretty much cut her off, and it has stayed that way up until now, with a couple exceptions. The main one being that my grandfather ended up passing away in 2022, so I re-established contact with her partly as a way to try to make my other grandmother happy after, her husband died, and partly because in a way I did miss her. As you might guess, it did not work out. At first things seemed to be going slightly better than last time, since she didn't push as hard for my affection and seemed more respectful of my boundaries. That was until Christmas of that same year, when she told me that she was going to commit self-deletion once her mother died, since there was nobody in the world who loved her, not so subtly implying that it was my fault. That obviously shook me, but more than that it made me angry. I realized that it was most likely a bluff to guilt me into forgiving her for everything, and that even if it wasn't, it was not a burden I should have to carry on my back. So I cut her off again, this time for good. Other than that, and for me personally, these years have been a bit of a roller coaster, with quite a few highs and lows. I finished high school, got into college, gained 40 kilograms, lost 25 of them, got really depressed, slowly crawled out of it, made some new friends, lost some old ones. Right now though, I'd say that I'm better than ever. I turned 22 a few months ago, and for the first time in a while I look forward to the future. I just graduated from college, I'm officially a historian now, I already got into the masters I want to do. I have a pretty chill job, and next year I'm planning on staying for a few months in Belgium, thanks to a EU program. Things are not perfect of course, but I have a strong support system which has helped me not completely fall apart these last few years. My dad in particular has been my rock all this time, and our bond is stronger than ever. Even though him and I are very different, and he didn't always know how to help me, he really gave it his all and I couldn't be more thankful. So yeah, these, almost, 6 years have not been easy, but I feel like I have come out on the other side happier and stronger. Thanks again to the people who gave advice last time, and have a good one.